This episode of the Opie Radio podcast sponsored by SkylightFrame.com. Use the code OPIE, O-P-I-E. That's SkylightFrame.com, SKYLIGHTFRAME, SkylightFrame.com. Use the promo code OPIE, O-P-I-E to get $10 off. All right? All right.
Oh,
shit,
man.
Damn, bro, your beard's getting longer and my hair's getting longer.
Yeah, well, I don't have the luxury of that second option, so this is what I got.
Yeah, and you got a nice pond behind you. Are there any fish in that pond?
There's plenty of catfish and bass, and there's actually an alligator out there as we speak.
Really?
That he's not too close, but I'm literally like checking over every so often because he's definitely sniffing around.
Alligators don't want anything to do with you, but you know, every once in a while they grab a kid or two, but in general they don't give a crap about you.
Well, right, they're very timid, but how timid is an alligator if it's fucking starving? I mean, it's coming for you, you know? Like it's not going to hesitate.
I was going to say, when I used to golf in Florida, we'd run into alligators. They would be sunning themselves right on the course.
Oh yeah,
right off the fairway, bro. You didn't even have to like slice your ball to see the alligators.
This is the whole thing, and like when I take the dog out, because we live on a canal in Florida. Yeah. When I take the dog out at night, I'm always with a flashlight because there's like a ditch next to the canal.
Yeah,
I know there's going to be an alligator just laying in there someday. I mean, it wouldn't be you can't be surprised if you find that, you know.
Yeah.
What's this rumor I hear? You're going to pay a comedian $1 million to be on the show? What the fuck?
Well, I mean, you met me a little too late there, brother. I can maybe pay you like $1,000 a year.
Yeah, or pay me that 20 that just came in, right? Yeah, just do that.
Well, I got to give you half of that after YouTube takes their cut. So I might be able to give you about $7.50 for live streaming today.
That sounds perfect. I'll get a burger with cheese.
Point to about where that alligator is.
It's that little dark spot, or that little spot in the water. See the grass that's in the middle of the water, in the middle of that shot?
Yeah.
If you go to the right, the right, that's the alligator.
I hope he pops out of the water and just starts walking toward you while we're doing this. Don't worry, I got it. Because you can't really see. I can see what's going on back there for you.
Yeah, just kind of, if you see some, in the water, yeah. No, he's just kind of sunbathing. That's all he's doing, just kind of sunbathing.
God, since the last time we talked, we both have gotten vaccinated now.
Yep, got the full second shot. That was a month ago. Right at a month ago, I got the second shot. Look, all I know is I'm glad that I don't have to worry about that part of it anymore. I tell you, when I was driving from Houston to College Station to go visit some friends, and I stopped at a convenience store, and I'm like, it's Texas and it's a small town, and I'm like, a lot of people aren't wearing their mask, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm fucking vaccinated. Why do I need to mess with the mask, right? So like literally as I'm walking into the convenience store, I chickened out and put the mask on like last second before I went in there. Because I mean, I haven't gone inside any place without a mask, It's also a way to avoid bullshit from people.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm masking up still. Benjamin Tucker just gave another $20 for Judd to wrestle an alligator. Come on, Judd. No? So we lost Judd Jones. Oh my God, to the alligator again? People who hate on Opie literally have nothing better to do. What the fuck is with the negativity? It's just the world we live in. People rather focus on negative shit than positive shit, unfortunately. He's back.
I don't know what's happening. Let's see.
Are you using Wi-Fi?
No, I'm not using Wi-Fi. I was out here helping my dad do some shit. And he took off. So yeah, dragging wood and doing bullshit like that.
Do they have Wi-Fi in the house?
Oh no, there's no house out here.
Where the fuck are you?
It's about 10 minutes from my parents' house. It's just like a little place that we have to go fishing and shoot shit and burn shit. Redneck stuff. That's all it is. This was the spot, dude, when I was in high school for parties.
I can imagine.
This was the fucking place. But then again, my dad was county judge. So like all the sheriff's deputies knew him, and they some of them are real dicks, and they'd, literally call my dad at night, and say, hey, there's your son's out there again, whatever.
Now, this is the first time you're seeing your parents in a year, right?
Dude, it was like 14 months.
So you took the road trip from Florida to Texas to go see him.
Flew into Houston and then went to College Station, then Austin, and then
nice
down to see my folks. So yeah, I've been eating my way through Central Texas at every barbecue joint I can find.
I can imagine.
It's been pretty good. I did the real fat guy thing. I was in what was it, Rockdale, Texas, on the way to Austin. It's just like a little small town.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get something to eat, and there was a burger joint, and it said established 1973. And I'm like, okay, well, that's probably worth something, So I pull in and I go there and I get a burger. I pull out, and like one block later, it says the top 25 barbecue places according to Texas Monthly Magazine. And I was like, well, shit, I got to go there too.
Oh, okay.
I had a burger and brisket for lunch the other day. Yeah.
Beautiful. How was it seeing your parents? Did they look different? Like, was it emotional? Was it?
No, I've talked to them, on Skype and shit like that, and my mom, she doesn't necessarily like the beard. She told me I look like an insurrectionist.
No, you would have fit in nice on January 6th. You would have fit right in there.
If I was in Brooklyn, I'm a hipster, but in Florida, like total white supremacist. This is the look,
Now,
right.
Which guy would you have been? Let's just say if you decided to storm the Capitol with everybody, which guy would you have been? Would you have been putting the feet up on Pelosi's desk? Would you have been the guy just walking through with the Confederate flag? Would you be climbing the wall? Well, which guy would you have been, you think?
Now, I would have been the guy back at the truck finishing up the hot dogs. That's the guy I would have been.
I got an answer for me. If I stormed the Capitol, I definitely would have been feet up on the desk guy in one of the offices. Just trying to find shit.
You kind of look like the guy who took out the lectern, who was walking out with the, that could have been you. Yeah, those people, like, can you imagine? Those people had no idea the shit they were going to be in just by being on those grounds, right? And I mean, they did. I mean, there's, even that guy who was dressed up like Chewbacca or whatever the fuck he was. Yeah, like that dude. He apparently destroyed nothing. He just walked around and was, carrying on and sat in the speaker's chair and all that. That dude is fucked. Right. I mean, he is screwed beyond screwed. I mean, so many people are. And then what is that? They tried to, they went and they raided some chick's house to get Nancy Pelosi's laptop back, and it was the wrong house. Yeah. Well, oh my God.
Well, no, what's so funny about that, and here we go, we'll trigger all sorts of people. But like the guy in Nancy Pelosi's office with his feet up on the desk, finding emails and whatever he could find, all those people assumed it was okay to do this because they really believed Trump said, go for it.
Well, look, if they really were listening, honest to God, dude, if they were really listening to what Trump said, they wouldn't have actually stormed the Capitol. This is a mob mentality. They weren't even hearing what he said. Yeah. They were just all fucking jazzed up. Everybody's there. Everyone's half drunk and shit. And they're like, we're going to storm, like the movies. Like, we're going to do this shit. And, in that mentality, all it takes is a couple people to break a window, and some redneck's like, fuck yeah, that's what we need to do. Get in there,
Well, and then it turns into the mob mentality. You're like, oh, I guess it's okay because everyone else is doing it. So you just march along like this, and you're right in there in the Capitol.
Right, and you think that if a cop approaches you, you're just going to say, I just followed the men. I didn't know what was going to happen or anything. Yeah, what was the deal?
You would probably do this. You'd be like, well, what about everybody else?
Oh, you're going to get that guy?
Yeah, what about that guy over there?
No, he took a shit on the floor. What am I going to,
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Good God, man. Yeah, I don't know. That's it, though. It's just the mob mentality. They're like, here we go. We're going to do this. We're going to storm it. But, I mean, God, those people are just so screwed in so many ways.
Oh my God, they're still picking them out every other day. It's like some blurry image, and like, now we know who this guy is.
Right. Well, and I mean, think about it. It was like the most documented thing that had happened in forever. They have high res pictures of all these fuckers. Yeah, I mean, they got a guy with a baseball cap and a mask on, but they're able to determine who he is with his eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, that was not the place to be if you're fucking around. That's for
No,
sure.
man. So I gotta read the text from last night. I could do that, right?
Do you want me to just tell it, or do you want to read, the
I want
text?
to read it because it's such a shock, and then obviously we'll go from there. I think.
Yeah, all right, go ahead.
Because
Yeah.
from my point of view, I was just minding my own business, having a nice night with the family. You know, my wife's having a glass of wine. I'm having a beer, nothing too crazy, and we're watching a Marvel movie. You know, because my son's really into the Marvel movies all of a sudden. So
which one were you watching?
The Ultron one.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
We're going
that's
backwards for some reason.
Oh, that's all right.
Because we already saw Endgame, and then we went and saw Ultron.
Okay.
Have you watched these movies, by the way?
I've seen them all. Yeah, I like it.
Don't you think it's silly when Captain America loses a fight that he has to awkwardly go find his shield and strap it to his back and walk away?
Right, all dejected and shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when he loses a fight, that shield looks really stupid.
Right.
So you called me, and I go, "Wow, Judd's calling. That's a little weird on a Saturday night. I wonder what he wants." But we're in the middle of the movie, so I just wrote to Judd. I go, "Please text me because I figure I could take a peek at my phone without my son noticing and still watch the movie and see what the hell's going on with Judd Jones, right?"
Sure.
So Judd writes, "Ha, just seeing what's up. Down for a live stream tomorrow if you are." And I go, I didn't say anything for 5 minutes, so you didn't get my attention with that, I guess. And then all of a sudden you write, "I'm at my parents' house on the back porch, drunk and eating edibles. And I found their neighbor dead on the toilet earlier." And I just write, "What?" And you wrote, he was 93, didn't answer his phone, so me and Dad did a wellness check. He wasn't well.
Wasn't well. He wasn't well at all.
That's a hell of a text to receive on a Saturday night from your friend. Oh my God. So what happened?
Yeah. No, this guy, I mean, he and his wife lived in the house, like right across the street from us my whole life. Right. Yeah. His wife died 5 years ago, and he was 93, and he had some heart stuff before. My mom checks on him. One of the other neighbors checks on him. She's in touch with his sons who live in Houston and all that. And one of the sons called and said that his dad wasn't answering. And so mom went over there to check. And then he leaves the door open, so she kind of yelled in, but then she didn't want to go in. Yeah. And so then we went over there, and he's 93. He's not answering. He's got his little dogs in there, and Dad and I are walking in. It's like we're like, this is not going to end well at all, right? And then what actually made me laugh a little bit. This is bad. Okay, so we're walking in, and he hasn't seen me in years. I mean, sometimes he might see me when I come in just from a distance or whatever. But I'm thinking to myself, if he's in there and, hell, I know he's got guns. I don't want him to fucking shoot me because I'm an intruder.
Sure.
But I'm like hollering his name out, and so is my dad. And then we get into the bedroom, and Dad takes the turn, and then I take the turn, and there he is on the toilet. He was just didn't get to finish his morning ablutions or whatever the word is. Yeah. And my mom was on. This is terrible. My mom was on the phone out at the front door with the son.
Yeah.
And then my mom hollered something at my dad, and then my dad real loud goes, "He's dead on the toilet." So I'm thinking the son heard that, right? And I was like, oh shit. Right. But yeah, sure enough. And then we checked his pulse and everything, but yeah, he was gone. And I don't think it happened very long before we were there, to be honest with you. Hell, that's the way I want to go. That's the way I want to go. Shit.
Well, hell yeah. Why not? Did you guys do the common decency thing, and did you flush the toilet at least for the guy?
No, we didn't mill around out there. We didn't do any of that. We just called the police like straight away.
Yeah.
And they showed up like just a few minutes after that. And then and he had everything set up with his the funeral home and all that. So, we just had to wait there. And then one of the cops comes in. We were just going to leave, and we let the dogs out for a minute, and all that stuff. And then we were going to leave, and the cop says, "Well, we're going to lock the door." And we're like, "Well, we don't have any of the keys or anything like that." And he goes, "Well, because he's got a bunch of firearms in there." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah." So they didn't want to leave it unlocked, and so we found the keys and had to wait there till they took him away. And then the son from Houston finally got there and was taking care of stuff. But yeah, man, it was It was like a weird lunchtime thing, you know? Yeah, kind of a
Oh,
trip.
It happened during the daylight.
Oh yeah. No, well, actually, it was like, I think like 11 o'clock in the morning now. That's what it
I
was.
think that makes it more creepy, I think.
Well, I mean, the lights were on. It wasn't like we were going into some dark room or anything, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What?
Yeah, it was pretty wild. But, yeah, I texted that to the lady too. I was like, hey, she was like, how's it going today? How's it going with your folks? I'm like, great. Found the neighbor dead on the toilet, you know?
Jesus, that's crazy. Were you horrified by the scene, or were you just like, yeah, whatever?
No, it wasn't really a big deal to me. It's not the first dead body I've seen.
Who else did you see dead?
Found a friend of my dad's before.
Yeah.
Yeah, same kind of thing. He wasn't answering. And then who else? I think another friend's dad. But see, I used to. I was going to tell you this before. I used to work at the. My grandfather owned the monument shop, like tombstones, in my hometown,
Okay.
right? So that was my job, setting tombstones like all through high school, and when I'd come home for the summers in college. And I was the only white guy on the crew, but I learned a lot of Spanish, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there was two things, not to segue away from that necessarily, but there's two things about this you'd appreciate. One time, sometimes like when what is the mausoleums when people are put in the wall, if you can't pay for it, then the body is transferred and they take it somewhere else, right? So unless you've got it fully paid, if you don't pay the bill, you got to, move the body. And so we were over there one day because there was some other company that was going to be taking the body out, and we were doing the monument and all that stuff there. And so we were in that mausoleum, and apparently, like when they embalmed this guy, they didn't do it the proper way or something like that. So they pull out, and it was like chest high. They pull out the rack with the coffin in it,
Yeah.
and the dude's like decomposing body fell out of the bottom of the, like onto the ground. Like, and one of the Mexican guys was like, "Ah!" He threw up. It was like the worst thing, man. Yeah, that was pretty hardcore. Yeah, there was so much shit working for that monument at one time.
You have another story?
Oh yeah. This is not a body story, but this is pretty funny.
Okay.
Like we were setting a monument down on the coast at some cemetery, and it was just like the flat piece with the vertical piece that you place on there, right?
Yeah.
Well, those just kind of set there. The vertical piece is set on the base, and you just put like a caulk around it because they're so heavy. That's why some people you can push over the tombstones, right? Because there's no like rebar or anything that's going up in it. And so you place the stone on the thing, and it's got spacers that you put there of wood first, and line it up and all that. And then you just kind of lean it forward and set it, and then the thing, all right, okay.
Yeah.
So I was like I was like the strongest of the guys on that crew. They were all just like little Mexican dudes. And so I get up behind the monument, and I've got my hip on it, and it's kind of resting vertically. I mean, it's really heavy. I mean, it's like 1,000+ pounds. And so it's just barely resting on my hip, and I'm standing there. And the guy, the little Mexican dude, was taking out the spacers,
Yeah.
and he was putting the weatherproofing caulk in there, right? And so he moved the spacer, and I see him move it, and I said, "You ready?" And he goes, "Yeah." And as soon as he pulled his hand away, he got some of that caulk on his finger and pulled it back. And as I'm pushing it forward, he kind of jabbed his finger in there to push the caulk back in.
Yeah.
And the edge of those stones is like a razor. I'd set that stone down and cut the tip of his ring finger off.
No kidding.
Right? It just cut the from like the first knuckle up on his ring finger, cut it off, right? And he comes up and he's holding his hand. He's like, "Ah!" I was like, fuck.
Right.
And once the stone's on there, there's no moving it.
Yeah.
Like there's no moving it at all, right? And so we I got a T-shirt and wrapped it around his hand, and took him to the hospital and whatever. And
I assume because he cut his finger off, you figured I got to kill this one too.
Yeah, just bury him right there. Right. I don't need any problems. Yeah.
Pat Duffy,
right.
People are beating the crap out of you in the comments. And when you said that you had another story, I said another story about a dead body, right? Pat Duffy writes, "This isn't a body story. This is about one that got away." They all think
right.
They all think you might be a serial killer.
No. The finger story, we were talking about the other one, made me think of the finger story, and you'd appreciate it. But the end of that story is that guy worked for my grandfather for years. We had to go back the next summer and work there, and we went to go to that monument, and there was still like a little dark spot on the bottom from the caulk, like where his finger had just like rotted in there.
Oh
and
my God.
So even like years later, he had one of those fingernails that grew out straight from his finger because it was cut off. It looked like a dog, right? It was terrible. Yeah, I felt so bad.
DL writes, this dude is fucking taking trophies. Call the FBI.
This is what?
They think you're taking trophies.
Oh yeah. No, I don't like to fuck around. I don't like to fuck around. That's what it comes down to, you know. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Actually, we did find a dead body in the lake not far from here another time. But it was at a county park, and it was when my dad was county judge. And we went out there, and there was a dead body. Somebody died in there. Oh yeah, there's bodies everywhere out here.
So finding your dad's neighbor dead on the toilet is no big deal for Judd Jones.
Maybe our lack of general emotion in the Jones family. We were just kind of like, we were like, and we liked the guy. I mean, I've been there my whole life, you know. And it was just like, you know, they're like, oh, we're all three of us are just kind of like, God, that just sucks. Right. Anybody want a sandwich? Like, I mean, that's kind of what it was. We just kind of went on from there. Yeah, it was a bummer, but you know,
it's not a bummer if he's 93 years old and he's dying on the toilet. I think.
Well, it's a bummer. It's a bummer to find the neighbor on the toilet dead. I mean, that's the bummer, you know. Yeah. Right.
I only saw my dad dead. That was it.
Oh, is that right?
I watched him die. I highly recommend that you don't do that. I highly recommend when it's time for your dad and you know it's coming soon, give him a kiss on the forehead and go, you're on your own, man. Thanks for a great life. I love you. And run. Run away. My dad died. Immediately you realize there's something more than just a stupid body, because then it looked like I was looking at a mannequin. Whatever made my dad him was long gone. I understand the dead part, but I'm talking about possibly a soul. You feel like this thing went from something you really cared about and loved to just a mannequin. So the soul just who knows what happens, but you feel something happen immediately as soon as the person dies. And then, man, that nature doesn't waste any fucking time. Holy shit!
Kicks in real quick.
The color of his body start changing immediately. I'm like, oh my God, get me the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Did you get your mom a skylight frame for Mother's Day?
A skylight frame for Mother's Day? No, I didn't. Yes, I got the skyline frame, Opie. It's funny you should say.
Oh yeah, you got the skylight frame, did you?
Oh yes, I did. Absolutely.
Tell me what the skylight frame is all about, Mr. Judd Jones. Do you even know?
No, I have no idea. But I'm guessing you have an interest in it.
Well, it's a picture frame, right?
Yes.
And then you're in Florida and your mom's in Texas, and all of a sudden your dog's jumping off the back of the boat and stuff, and you're taking pictures like, oh my God, the dog just jumped off my boat.
Right.
And then you send the pictures to your mom's skylight frame, and then when she wakes up in the morning to make her little tea, and there's the picture frame right on the kitchen counter, all of a sudden she sees brand new pictures from Judd Jones, and she feels like she's still a part of your life there, Judd.
Wow, that's a great Mother's Day gift right there, boy. Man. You could take pictures of dogs jumping, dead bodies on the toilet. You can do anything.
Oh my God,
you can do anything. Yeah.
I think you should get one for your mom. And if you use the promo code OPIE, OPIE, I think you get $10 off.
$10 off. Well, if you divvy up some of this fucking cash you're getting, maybe I can get it for free.
Right. Yeah. So, the picture frame's perfect for Mother's Day. Don't do the flowers. Don't do the chocolate. Don't do the gold-dipped roses. Get the skylight frame from skylightframe.com. Spell it out for me. SKYLIGHT. Skylightframe.com. Promo code OPIE. It's wonderful.
I think it sounds great. I'm going to look it up. I am. That's a great idea.
Yeah, right on, man.
Cool. What else? I mean, you could give me like a sheet beforehand to give me a heads up, maybe a little research on it. Oh, yes, the skyline frame up.
No,
yes,
man. Why would I do it that way when I can make you look awkward? I'd rather make my friend look awkward.
Oh no, I don't live in awkward. I can handle it all. Doesn't matter to me.
All right. I wanted to do a special live stream with you on the 1 year anniversary of our pal Vic Henley. I mean, I can't believe it's been a year already. That's nuts. And then
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I woke up that day just bummed out, man. Bummed out, and I blew it off.
Yep.
But I think you talked to his mom, right?
I talked to his mom a couple days before. I didn't, and it wasn't like selfish reasons. I just didn't necessarily know if she'd want to talk to Vic's friend on that day for some reason. You know, I don't know. I mean, I've been talking to her every couple of months or something. I'll give her a call and chat with her. But she told me, so I asked her, I said, well, have you gotten the vaccine? And she said, well, I've got to wait a couple months. And I said, because she's like 87 years old.
Yeah.
And I said, why do you have to wait? I said, why do you have to wait a couple of months? And she says, well, she's like, you know, just like Vic used to impersonate her. She's real Southern. She's like, well, Judd, I tell you, about 6 weeks ago, I caught COVID.
Wow.
I was like, what? This woman has not gone anywhere for a year. Like the family, like they are not taking any chances at all. I've talked to Vic's brother a couple times too. And I'm like, where did you go? Or like, what? She thinks, and it's just, she's probably go to the optometrist, and she goes in there, and neither the doctor nor any of the nurses were wearing masks.
Really?
Nothing. And this was like 2 months ago, right? And I'm like, oh my God. And she goes in there right after that. She got sick, and she goes, I've never been so sick in my whole life. She goes, I thought I was going to die. I'm like, oh my God. And then, so now I'm like, you know, wishing death upon an optometrist in Alabama, because how do you not, you know, have a mask on? You're dealing with people's eyes, and you get up in that machine all close and shit. And she said even the nurses didn't have it. And she was like, I was going to say something, but then I thought, well, I'm wearing my mask, so it's okay. And I'm like, oh my God. So this poor woman, you know, with everything that's gone on with her, she was just stuck, sick as can be, alone in her house. But when I talked to her, she still said she had some like kind of residual effects or whatever, but that she was feeling a lot better. And this was, this was like, I guess, a month ago when I talked to her.
I think people just don't want to be rude, you know? So if you're in a situation where someone's not wearing a mask, in a lot of cases, you don't speak up for whatever reason.
I mean, I certainly wouldn't. I mean, I would just leave. I mean, I personally wouldn't have had a problem doing that. But I mean, how do you not, even though it is Alabama, I get it, but how a doctor's office, like how do you not have, you know, of all places? I don't know, but she made it through.
That's good.
Tough as can be. Man, it's hard. I mean, it's still hard. It's always going to be hard. They were such a close family, you know? And I mean, you know, Vic, I mean, God, he was like the glue that kept them all together. He's, you know, fun Vic who'd come into town and, you know, swoop everybody up and have a good time. And, you know, they always kept up with everything that he was doing and all that. So he was the youngest of the three of them, you know?
Terrible.
But, yeah, man, terrible deal. But I'll tell you, any of your fans want to see something kind of, I think it's kind of cool. If you got Amazon Prime, Evening at the Improv, there's like four episodes of Vic. He did that show a lot, and it's pretty cool because I think it was like started from the like 1990. I think was the first one he was on or something like that.
Right.
So that's pretty cool to check out. Yeah, pretty funny.
I've never checked that out. I definitely got to do so. You've had a hell of a run there, man. Judd Jones.
It's been a good trip, very interesting trip. That's
How's
for sure.
Florida?
Yeah, Florida, fantastic. I mean, I don't know, man. It's like, you know, it's like I feel like I'm retired living down there, but I haven't accomplished enough yet. You know, it's a weird thing. But I've got 5 shows in Sarasota next weekend.
Beautiful.
It's in a yoga studio in Sarasota.
Really?
Yeah. So if anybody's at Sarasota, it's hotyogaforyou.com. And the 4 is the number 4. hotyogaforyou.com.
Are you going to be doing comedy while they're all in their, you know, bras and panties and underpants or what?
Well, I'm going to be wearing yoga pants. I don't know about everybody else, but you know, just to fit in. No, but it's like 2 shows Friday, 3 shows Saturday. But this dude, I knew him from New York, and he lives in Sarasota. He's actually a retired garbage man from New York City, but he's like my age. He must have started out like right when he was a teenager or something.
Yeah.
But he's all into yoga. He's all into yoga, and he and his wife opened a studio in Sarasota. Like, I don't know, I think they've had that for a while. And so he just started doing these pop-up shows like once a month.
All
And
right.
I think he's done like 3 or 4 months of them. And I've seen video. There's a good amount of people that show up. And
Right.
he does it right, man. He's got a small stage, got a spotlight, got a good sound system. He blacks out all the windows and makes a little comedy room out of it. So that'll be.
And those yoga people don't need chairs.
That's true. They just sit on the ground. That's right.
They can just sit on the ground.
Right.
They can do downward facing dog, which would be a nice view for you, Judd Jones.
Oh, it depends on the yogi, I guess. Yeah, depends on
Do you do yoga at all?
No. I'm not one to yoga.
I've yoged.
Never.
I yoged.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
I just said I yoged.
Doesn't surprise me in the least. Oh, but it has to be in a thermos. I mean, he's all particular about, like, he's got HEPA filters in there and shit. Like, you know, he's very, he's making it very COVID friendly or whatever you'd say. Yeah. So it ought to be pretty cool. Definitely, it'll be interesting.
God,
that's for sure.
Man. Anything to get that comedy career going. That's well, at least you're going to start getting back,
Well,
that's doing it again. You're starting at a yoga place.
Hey man, it there's going to be an audience there and it pays. So I'm happy with that. Does the yoga studio just smell like farts? Because I can't be surprised if it does, right? I mean, that's the whole thing with yoga.
And right. Especially because it's hot yoga, it smells like BO, to be honest with you. A lot of people think it would be pretty cool and kind of a turn on to do hot yoga, but it stinks. Oh my God, does it stink like BO? And if that scent doesn't match up with what you like, it's awful. God awful.
It doesn't match up with the yoga scent that you like.
No, you know what I'm saying.
No, I'm sure it's all right. When you match up the scent with somebody, then you're compatible. And other times you go in and you're like, oh my God. Right. Just a little desirable funk.
Yeah, a little bit, little taste. What do you do to like calm the mind and try to stay healthy there, Judd Jones, if you're not doing the yoga?
As far as like exercise and shit?
Whatever.
Is that what you're getting at? I don't not a big cardio person. I know that's probably hard for people to believe, but I don't do much cardio, but I lift weights and dumbbells like at least every other day in my office.
Oh, really?
Like I've done that. I've done that forever. Yeah. I've always tried to maintain like just enough cardio and strength to defend myself if I'm ever attacked.
I hear you.
That's what it comes down to. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But fuck, dude, living in Florida is like, I mean, it's helping the mind and soul. Like, I mean, it's just no stress, just nice weather.
Right.
Go out in the boat here and there. The fucking dog jumped out of the back of the boat when I put the hammer down the other day.
Really?
That was a new one. He just launched off the back like no problem. So I had to circle back for his stupid ass.
Oh, you didn't jump in after him? You got to jump in after your dog there, Judd.
Well, who's going to drive the boat?
Oh, it's just you and him in the boat?
Yeah, me and the dog.
Oh, wow.
Just went out. Yeah, and he'd never done that before. And just launched straight out. And I just whistled at him and he turned around. He started swimming like toward a buoy or something, like he was going to do something.
Really?
And I just whistled at him and he came back around and he had like his harness. He had like his harness thing on. And I just, put him up. Yeah.
I don't mean to laugh, but the people in the chat, they never gave up on thinking you might be a serial killer. Pat Duffy just wrote, "In case I'm ever attacked," actually means in case one ever fights back. That's
true. You got to send a message.
And then someone else is saying you're actually using the dumbbells to bludgeon your victims.
No, to tie to their ankles to drown them in the river. That's what you use the dumbbells for.
Dude, they haven't heard a word since you mentioned the fact that you've seen maybe you're too many dead people. I'm with the people. I think you have found and seen too many dead people there, Judd Jones.
Nobody can prove a fucking thing. I'll just say that.
Okay. Yeah, but it's weird that we're doing this and there's a nice little pond. They should be draining that pond behind you.
No, they shouldn't, Opie. No, they shouldn't. No? To be honest with you, again, this part of this lake is attached to the county lake. And the one I said where I was with my dad and found the dead body there because he was a county judge. They were called out and all this stuff. They made that lake over there into a county park specifically because of dead bodies and crime that was going on out there.
Oh, no kidding. They
did. So they made it to where it was a county park. And my dad, since he was county judge at the time, they had signs up like welcoming you when you go to that. It was called Saxett Lake Park.
Yeah.
And they had like these wooden things that had all the county commissioners' names on it. And my dad's name was across the top as county judge. So we would go out there, because you could go boating and fishing and all that. But that's why they did it. It's because too many dead bodies and too much crime was going on out there. Yeah. Yeah. It's a weird thing. There's also a place on the way over there where they used to, like in the 80s, they would do like Satanist shit out there. Yeah. It was like this curvy road. Oh, that was why they did it. The road was called like the Devil's Backbone or something like that, because it's an old country road, and you'd top the hill and the road would go at a 90-degree angle and there's no lights, so people would just launch off.
Nice.
And there was all sorts of people who died in car wrecks there. And so then there was the Satanists, the local Satanist chapter or whatever took over that area.
We had that in Northport, Long Island, back there's a long time ago, probably 25, oh my God, it might even be 30 years at this point. And it made it into Rolling Stone magazine. In Northport, there was a gazebo with all this Satan shit written all over the place. And one of the kids killed another kid and took his eyes out.
Oh.
And buried him in a shallow grave. It became a massive story in the Northport area, and it made it into Rolling Stone magazine. Look it up.
Wow. Jesus.
But I think every town has that Satan stuff, right?
Well, this is why you got to watch out for overly religious people. I'm telling you, man.
Oh, you're not one of those religious people down there.
No, I really didn't. No, I went to church up until junior high, and then my parents didn't make me go after that point.
I was talking about this on the live stream. So you've done a lot of church before you bailed, right?
I used to go to church a lot, yeah.
Yeah, so the collection thing, and they would pass it down the row, and everyone would just throw their money in there. Tell me the priest and anyone that was working for the church and the volunteers that collected the money, tell me they weren't taking a taste when they had about 15 to 20 seconds by themselves when they were going into the back to dump the money wherever it went.
Right. Oh, sure.
Tell me they weren't taking a taste.
All that money, that's like Steve Harvey's old joke. He was like, all that money goes to the building fund.
Yeah.
That's what that goes to. Right.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good racket, though, man. No taxes,
dude. It's no taxes. It's cash, and there were some other things going on in the church. So if you're thinking if they were doing that, then they're definitely dipping their hands into the baskets.
Sure. Oh yeah, for sure. But no, I went to a Baptist church, and it used to be a lot of people there, but there's just that. Yeah, they don't have that many people that attend that church anymore. But I had like a weird, like religious, not even religious upbringing, but I went to Presbyterian kindergarten, Episcopalian elementary, public junior high, Catholic high school, and I was raised Baptist.
Damn.
All of those. Yeah. All of those.
I went to a Baptist wake in Boston, and I was having a damn good time, and stupid me, I didn't realize that, everyone else was like in tears around me, but the music was so damn good. I was really into it. And I'm like, because I was brought up Catholic. I'm like, if I went to a Baptist church every weekend, I think I would still be going. It was fun.
See, I think the opposite. Like the Catholic church, it's like 1 hour and you're done, right? I mean, that's kind of how that goes. Whereas the Baptist churches, I mean, sometimes they can go into 2 hours.
Right.
That gets a little long-winded, and that's what would get people upset because football started at noon.
Yeah, sure.
So it was like we gotta get out of here. Did you see the plane that crashed in the beach on the air show?
No. Oh, in the ocean, water, right?
Yeah. We were there. We were there when that happened.
Really?
Yeah. We saw one day we were in the boat and we just watched them fly over there. The other day we were near there, and it was funny because the thing's coming in, and it's like I'm sure a lot of people are like, "This is the greatest air show ever. Look how low that plane is."
Yeah.
And then he just didn't pull up, and then he landed it perfect, man.
But
he did. He crawled out and walked ashore, and everyone freaked out. Yeah,
but
pretty
that
cool.
shit happens a lot, though, man. There's a lot of crashes at air shows. You've noticed that over the years, right?
We used to go to an air show here in my hometown, and they the way they had it, they had pyrotechnics set up out in the field. So when the planes would come in, there was like a World War II broadcast they were putting out on the speakers, and the planes would dive down and just explosions everywhere. You'd feel the heat. Like, you imagine them doing that now, like in front of a crowd? Like, they would never do that nowadays. Oh, it was great.
Way.
Yeah,
What do you think about the helicopter on Mars, man?
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool.
I don't think it's cool at all.
Why?
Because it's going up in the air like 20 feet, and then they're not doing anything.
Oh, sorry. They're on fucking Mars. That's not impressive in and of itself. They're flying something on Mars.
Not really.
Oh, you want more. You want more.
Well, yes, I do want more from the helicopter on Mars. I haven't seen shit with that thing yet. They're not doing anything that you could do in the fucking desert.
Well, this is true. So what you're wanting is to see a human being on Mars with their spacesuit crack open and their face explode. You want to see something like that? I kind of do too. Wouldn't that be cool? That would be pretty cool.
Of course.
Well, the way Elon Musk makes it sound like, what did he say the other day? He was like, "There's going to be people that die. There's going to be people that die when we go to Mars."
Right.
You know, right.
But there'll be a whole line of people that will sign up for that mission still, knowing that the odds are some of them aren't going to make it. They will sign up.
Sure.
Now, let me ask you this. Why do you think we never went back to the moon? Since what was the last year? 72, 73 maybe?
Right. I don't know. I mean, what else was there to do? I mean, we got all the fucking samples.
It's the moon. I'm going with your thing.
But there's nothing else like Mars. Right now we're doing, tests and experiments and shit or whatever that I guess they did on the moon. I mean, there's not much to see on the moon after a certain point,
just go
right?
back to the moon? It's closer.
Aren't they going to do that too?
And why wouldn't you just go to the moon and start a space station there?
Well, talk to Elon Musk. He's probably got it on the books.
Well, why not?
He's probably going to get that all figured out.
Why have something orbiting around when you can establish something on the moon?
Right.
And who wouldn't watch that every day? That would be badass on the internet.
Sure. Absolutely. Live stream from the moon.
Yeah, all of a sudden an astronaut's walking out the side door, he's hopping around and peeing. It would be amazing to watch.
I don't know that they do that on the moon outside necessarily, like it's in the country or something.
Dude, I had...
you think?
Oh, my God. I had one of the astronauts on, and he was bragging that he was the first person on the moon to take a leak.
On the moon or in his suit? In his suit. He's not whipping it out on the moon.
I think he whipped it out.
No, dude. Then your spacesuit's open. Then you're fucked.
How are you fucked?
He probably peed in his little Depends or whatever he's wearing.
Well, that's still cool.
But that's not taking a leak on the moon. The guy is not whipping it out on the surface of the moon.
Buzz Aldrin, first man to pee on the moon.
So he's standing on the moon and he pees in his suit.
I think he whipped it out.
I don't think so, dude. I don't think so. I don't know. I can't see how that's even remotely possible.
You know what? For the beauty of the podcast, listen to the story right now. Buzz Aldrin talking about peeing on the moon for the first time.
Buzz, you weren't the first man to walk on the moon, but you had some firsts up there, right?
Yeah.
Weren't you the first one to urinate on the moon? I was reading.
Yes, that's right.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome. You use the right word.
Well, you're a gentleman. I wanted to clean it up for you.
Is a bag. Now you have to connect yourself to the bag. And, and everybody ordered large size. Well, okay. So you've been in the spacecraft for a while, and this thing might be getting full. And if you're out there for a long time, the device was called the UCD, a urine collection device.
Oh.
Okay.
I knew that. So I call myself.
So anyway, we had to empty those out. We had the suits on, so there was another bag and a valve in the thigh, and you'd hook them together. Then you'd sort of push like this. We threw those overboard as garbage later on. They're still there on the moon. So when I got out, I knew that I had an empty bag. for some reason, when I got down the bottom of the ladder, the checklist said, well, sort of hold on so you won't lose your balance and check the mobility in this new environment of 1/6 gravity. Well, heck, I looked out the window and saw Neil pantsing around getting a contingency sample for 20 minutes or so. So I knew that surely wasn't going to be a problem. So I got down the bottom of the ladder. I had a moment or two and had the urge, and I knew that things were hooked together, no leaks, and an empty bag. So, yeah,
boy,
That's pretty great.
So,
yeah.
so you
Shows how
relieved
calm you
yourself
were.
at the bottom of the ladder.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
Good for
pretty
Buzz.
calm.
It's great. While Neil's showing off, you're having a good pee. Good for you.
When you get older, it doesn't quite come on demand.
There's so many reasons. Like the guy did not whip his dick out on the moon and pee. Where did the pee go? Up in his face? Where did
Has
his pressurized suit was open, so
Yeah.
he's fine.
I think you heard they ran out of like beds on the space station, and they had too many astronauts up there, so they were gonna put a couple guys on the ceiling to sleep. That's gonna be a miserable sleep when you're at the space station.
Is it? If there's no gravity, I mean, they just put a belt on and strap him to the ceiling, right?
I need my head resting on something solid. I can't be floating all around willy-nilly trying to get a few Z's. I had a waterbed, which was the closest to sleeping in space, I would say, because you're fucking, moving around and it almost feels weightless, right? But I always had to put my head on the base of the waterbed. It had to be on something solid, or I couldn't sleep.
Right, just like the moon.
I think it's close enough.
Would you, if you had the opportunity to go up in the SpaceX capsule, would you go?
In a second. I would be scared out of my mind. I'm not going to make believe I wouldn't be scared, but hell yeah.
Yeah. I would do that. I would totally do that. Yeah, that's pretty wild. I watched the splashdown thing that they did yesterday when they came back. That's pretty badass.
Now, speaking of Elon Musk, he's going to be on Saturday Night Live. As soon as you mention Saturday Night Live, people have to say, remember when SNL was funny?
Sure. Right.
They're still funny. It's probably not like unbelievably funny anymore, but they still get it done from time to time. You got to be honest about that, being a comedian there, Judd Jones.
I'll give you that. I don't watch it on a regular basis, but I might see, one of the sketches they put up or something.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's just like any other show, though, dude. It's not going to be for everybody,
True. Well, my point is this, though. So I guess some of the cast members are triggered because Elon Musk is going to be hosting SNL with Miley Cyrus, right? Triggered. They're going to be triggered. So Lorne Michaels actually told the cast that they don't have to perform with Elon Musk if they don't want to. And my thought, and you're a stand-up comedian, this is a statement, but I believe it with all my heart. I don't think a comedian should ever be triggered, ever, ever, ever. How are you a comedian and being triggered?
Well, I don't see how that's even possible, because if you have a mindset as a comedian, you're always trying to find the funny in anything,
right?
And so even if you don't like Elon Musk because he's a gazillionaire or whatever, let those juices flow to come up with something that would make it funny, or that you could use him for to do that. I don't know. Yeah, the triggered thing. But see, that's why that's a real weird thing to me, because I mean, it was just kind of put into my head from the beginning, like you're the opposite of that.
Right.
If you're trying to do stand-up comedy, like you don't get offended. You don't get offended by anything a joke a comedian says. You don't take offense to anything. I mean, that's not the mindset to have, well, but I don't know.
Your business is filled with a bunch of comedians that are easily triggered now. And your rap was exactly mine, because when you're a comedian and something bothers you, you got the skill set to take the piss out of it. And you can make fun of Elon Musk in front of his face, and he wouldn't even be able to fight back in that arena. But to be triggered and go to Lorne Michaels' office and go, I can't appear with Elon Musk. He triggers me. That's embarrassing for all stand-up comedians.
I guess they don't like Elon Musk just because he's rich. Like I don't know that he did or said anything in particular. I don't know. Anyway.
All right. Well, you're starting to freeze up again there, Judd Jones.
Yeah, I think we've done it, and I'm about to lose juice on my phone.
When you go back to Florida?
All right. Well, we've covered a lot of ground. Dead bodies and shit.
Peeing on the moon?
Flying back. Landing on the moon. Yep. Going back. Flying back Wednesday.
All right.
And then, driving to Sarasota on Friday.
For the yoga thing.
HotYogaForYou.com for tickets.
Nice.
Yeah. Take what I can get at this point.
What happened to our lives, Judd? We had it good. We were at get parts. We were podcasting, hanging out with our friends. They decide to die. A pandemic hits. Now I'm doing this. You're doing that. The fuck?
Fuck, I don't know, dude. I don't know. Just trying to get it all figured out.
Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your visit with your parents. I haven't seen my mom in, it's been 4 years now, but I knew the pandemic was coming. But I'm starting to think maybe I should go and see her too, now that things are opening up.
Yeah, that's going to take a lot more than a Skyline frame, I'll tell you that.
At this point, it is.
Whew, boy.
Boy, is it.
Yeah, right. All right, dude. I'll catch up with you.
All right, watch out for that alligator, Judd Jones.
For sure. I'm going to go check it out. All right, man.
All right.
Boo, 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 boo.
Opie Radio.
Boo, 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 boo. Boom, 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 boom.
Boo 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 boo. Boo 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 boo.